two, three, four. Hop, two, three, four.
Rolling along with the Army, our family in stride. Patriotic courage, we travel far and wide. Yellow ribbons, tears and smiles.
Welcome to AUSA's Army Matter podcast. This is Family Voices with Patty Barron. It is my pleasure to have as our guest today Mrs. Angie Dickinson, an active duty senior spouse and songwriter. Angie, it's a pleasure to host you at AUSA today.
Oh, Patty, thank you. I'm so proud to be here.
Well, we're excited as well. Our listeners were teased with a little audio snippet of Rolling Along with the Army. But before we get into more details about the song, I thought it would be nice for our audience to get to know you a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, Patty, we are stationed at Redstone Arsenal, and Jim and I have been rolling along with the Army for 3 years now. He is the commander of the Space and Missile Defense Command, and so that command is kind of spread all over, so we go several places because of that, and it's given the opportunity to meet more spouses in that capacity, so I enjoy that. So, Patty, I was raised in a small town, so having been raised that way, the Army was a big world to me that opened up. And I've just been so appreciative of that experience and raising children in that environment as well.
So, Angie, how did you meet your husband, and have you all been married for 33 years?
Yes, we met in high school, actually. My family moved to Colorado, Estes Park, Colorado. It's a mountain town. It's a beautiful town. And then after high school, we went to different universities. I went to Texas Tech, and Jim went to Colorado State University. We kind of kept up, but we dated others, and then he got his commission in the Army, and off we went after graduation.
He wooed you back into his heart. That's what I hear you saying.
Yeah, he never left my heart. But yeah, so it was a great experience, and it's lasted a long time. And
that's awesome. Angie, you're a senior spouse of an active duty soldier, as you mentioned, and this podcast is being heard just after Military Spouse Appreciation Day. As a senior spouse, what are you hearing from Army spouses in terms of quality of life? What are they telling you?
As far as quality of life, I hear good things about the quality of life. You know, the Army is rich in tradition of the spouses always pulling together. There's a lot offered to them through ACS, through spouses groups. So that is still a big part of the Army spouse network. And that's what helps personally lead to great quality of life. We help each other when we try to find schools when we move in, places to go see, to vacation to. It's that network that it's hard to explain, and it's always there, and we know how to do it so well. That helps with that.
I agree 100%. I think that is the key to living this life, and that is the connections and the friendships and the sisterhood that we all have as military spouses. My daughter actually had an event happen. She's at Schofield Barracks, and one of her little girls got ill, and it meant having to get an ambulance out there to take our little granddaughter to the hospital. Well, as soon as that ambulance arrived at that housing area, every neighbor was texting her, calling her, coming over saying, "Let me take the baby. I'll don't worry about a thing. We've got it. You're going to be fine." And I think her husband luckily was home, but that's not always the case. So you're absolutely right. It is that sisterhood that makes this life bearable and also very, very fun. And speaking of fun, even though this lifestyle can be very difficult, your song is so much fun to listen to and to sing along to. I love it. Every time I listen to it, I'm tapping my feet, and it's really, really great. So what makes Army life special enough to write a song about?
Okay, well, first of all, you hit it on the head, is that it is fun, and we have to make it fun. And there's so many wonderful traits that you grow up noticing in your mentors, neighbors in the Army life. And just wanted to put that into a song version. There have been prayers and creeds, but I just had a desire to put it into a song, and a happy song, and a song that maybe the Army could even march to, that it would be in a sing-along type. And so that's where that came out of. It came out of wanting to sing an Army song about Army spouses.
And have you written any songs before, Angie, before Rolling Along with the Army?
Well, we did. My sister is a singer-songwriter, Renee Willis, and she helped with both songs because she can take our words and she can put them together into their rhyming, and she can add that tune and work her magic. So she has collaborated on both of those with us, which has been a great help. But that first song was a song just for the Army wife, called The Charm of the Army. And like you all, AUSA is so supportive of spouses throughout the year. Mrs. Kidd actually shared that song at the AUSA conference years ago after we wrote that song. And that was more of a dedication, a tribute to the Army wife. And the other collaborators on that song were Army spouses Pam Green and Vivian Mayhew. And so we kind of wrote that song together at Fort Bliss on a kitchen table and got that out and have been sharing that. And that's how that has spread. I think the nicest thing that happened with that song, which was really special, was some ladies you may know, Peggy Rudesheim and Connie Simonite, Gretchen Escorbano, they sang it and performed it for Miss Linda O'Denero when she was farewelled at their retirement. And that was really special when it is sung to such a strong Army spouse that we had known for years.
That is, oh my gosh, that is special. I'm sure she absolutely loved it and was very touched by it. And then I think you had mentioned that you changed the song because we've seen an influx of male spouses in our Army spouse ranks as well as females. So you wanted to have a song that was more inclusive.
Yeah, we had to include the guys. That one was for the girls. So yes, we need to include our male spouses as they grew into our social groups. And we wanted to encompass all of the Army spouse. So we did. And you know, we had been wanting to write a song. The idea came to me way early. It just took a while with the Army life and moving and trying to get together to collaborate. That one it took longer, but I was encouraged by friends to do it. And so we did. And that's what the Rolling Along with the Army came out of. And I always like to tell when that came out of, because I think maybe other Army spouses can relate to this, is that we were living in Korea at the time. And I was going from Osan, Korea to Yongsan, Korea on a bus for a job interview because we were moving up from Osan to Yongsan. Anyway, I'm on this Korean bus, and it goes back always, I think, to where you came from. And I was like, God, just a girl from a small town in Texas. Here I went on a bus going for an interview in a foreign country. And I thought, how did I get here? Well, my husband is rolling with the Army, and I am too. And I felt like at that point, it just dawned on me that all the spouses, we are rolling along with the Army. So that's the idea that came to my head on that bus ride. And then I also like that it kind of gives a nod to the song that we know and love so well, the Army song. You know, wherever we go, you will always know that the Army goes rolling along.
I love that song too.
Yeah, I mean, when you hear that song, you stand up, you start clapping, your heart goes, you tapping. So it kind of came out of both songs, of just having an esprit de corps within the Army Spouse Corps and lifting your spirits, pulling people together. I like to have a song in my heart and puts a smile on my face. And I think others do too when they hear a song that gets to them.
I absolutely agree. And so is that the type of reaction that you get when you share this particular song? I know that we shared it at the AUSA annual meeting last year, and it was a lot of fun to do.
Yes, and thank you. You know who helped so much with that was trying to get it on board is Ginger Perkins, because she was sharing Charm of the Army at the PCC course, and she was like, we could really use a song, you know, for the male spouses too. We really want one of those. So she really encouraged me, and she was very patient. And songs, like anything, or books, they have their own course and their own track. And so you just a little journey that you go through till you get to that finished product. And when we got stuck a little bit, I have a good friend, Linda McFarland, who I know you know well too, just a wonderful, talented, creative person. And so she collaborated a little bit on this song too to help us. And I love her line when she said it, and it's in the song. It's rolling along with the Army with our grit and heart. And that just sounds like Linda, and you know that was coming from deep within. So I love that line is in there.
Absolutely. I think you can't say no to Ginger Perkins, and when you add Linda McFarland to the mix, you've got a winner. So let's not keep our audience in suspense any longer. Let's listen to Rolling Along with the Army.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Rolling along with the Army, we keep the flag unfurled. smiles. Army spouse doesn't count the miles, and it's up, 2, 3 with the Army. Up, 2, 3, 4, marching time. Orders move us down the line. Wave goodbye, welcome home. We roll on and on and on, and it's up,
2, 3, 4. Hop, 2, 3, 4.
rolling along with the Army, with our grit and heart. In volunteer spirit, we hold down the fort. Dedicated bravery, Army spousers willingly, and it's up, 2, 3 with the Army. Up, 2, 3, 4, marching time. Orders move us down the line. Wave goodbye, welcome home. We roll on and on and on, and it's up, 2, 3, 4, marching time. Orders move us down the line. Wave goodbye, welcome home. We roll on and on and on, and it's up,
2, 3, 4.
keep it up,
2, 3, 4.
rolling along with the Army. Huh.
I do love this song so much. It makes me so happy. I mean, it really does. And I'm going to be tapping my feet all day long.
And Patty, to those male voices that you hear in the song, those were added to the female voices. And those male voices are Army soldiers. They were band members from the Army Material Command Band that's here on Redstone. And their chief, Jim Betancourt, he lent us not only those male voices, but also instruments, and allowed us to use the recording studios. It was a lot of fun. And one little special note to throw in, that in the beginning of the song, when you hear that Jody's being called, before we say Hup 2, 3, 4, it says, "Here we go." That is Master Sergeant Lachelle Wiggins, and she's also a Army spouse. So that's a nice little tidbit.
Thank you so much for writing it, Angie, and for being with us today, for sharing your talents with us. I'm wondering, do you have any last thoughts or words of advice to all military spouses out there listening?
Oh, gosh. Let's see. I think I could say that you have the ability to, in this life, to touch so many as an Army spouse. And you just be you. You hear that all the time. It's cliche, but it's so true. And the older you get, the more you realize you do the best of you. You're the best you. And when that comes from the heart, it'll truly be appreciated, and you'll feel you belong. But that takes time, too. And we have our mentors to help with that. And again, our neighbors.
I don't think I could have said that any better. That is absolutely right. It does take time, but it's a great journey. It's one that I really felt privileged to be on, and I'll always be grateful for it. Angie, thank you so much for joining us today. It's just been a pleasure talking to you.
Oh, Patty, thank you so much. And thank you and AUSA for always highlighting the Army spouse and the Army families. And just appreciate it so much, and very grateful.
Oh, well, I hope that everybody that listens to this song has it stuck in their heads, and as they go from one place to another, it'll be playing way in the back of their minds and making them happy as well. Bye-bye. Thank you, Angie.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
So we've come to the end of our podcast episode. To all our listeners, thank you for joining us. Be sure to subscribe to the Army Matters podcast on iTunes and everywhere podcasts are found. Keep it locked here for all Army Matters and for next week's episode featuring Army thought leaders. I am Patty Barron with Family Voices. Family strong, Army strong, and keep rolling along with the Army.